Hi, welcome back to another video in this learning C++ journey. So in our previous tutorial, we started the concept inheritance and we learned the basic concept of inheritance, and we learned that how to use the concept of the inheritance and how its working is all done. Now in this video, we are going to solve an example just to get more mature in our concepts that we studied in our last video. Now I'm going to create a class by the name of quad. Okay, so quad, which means 4, and I'll say quad side, which means 4 side. Now we have shapes like a rectangle. I'll write the name over here. I'll say a rectangle, and I've got a square. Now both have the 4 sides, and both have its length, its width, but the calculation might be different. Like their width and length are different. Obviously, the square has the same length sides, and the rectangle have 2 sides same and 2 sides same. Okay, so 4 sides are not actually the same. Okay, so this is the difference between those, but the common quality between those two is that both have 4 sides. So I have created a class that is called quad size, so that means it is our base class. So I will write it over here, base class. Now within my base class, I would like to have members in my protected. Why? Because I want some member that can be inherited in my derived class, but I don't want anyone else to know about them. So that's why I'm keeping them in protected instead of private, because if you keep something in private, it cannot be accessed outside the class. So I'm using protected access specifier. So this is the purpose of protected. One concept is clear. Now I will write float length, and I will write float width. Okay, so I've got the width as well. Now I can have float height. I guess it is height for calculating the formula. Yes, it is actually height. So I'll write the float height. Now let's have some functions. Okay, so what we are going to have, we are going to have some common functions. First of all, we will write the functions as we do in our public section, and I will write float because whenever you calculate area, so I'll write area. Within area, what we are going to print is that print nothing. I'll tell you why. Print nothing. Just write the keyword area empty. Nothing for now. Okay. Then another function is going to be float, and we will write print the area. Oh, actually we are also printing it within our function as well. But we will write float, sorry, not float, but void get input. Okay, so with the help of this get input, we will get the values and store it within these member variables. So C out enter length, length, C in length, and we will have C out enter width, C in width. Okay, we have got width, but if we want to have height, we can do that as well. C out enter height. Okay, and we will write C in height as well. Now this is the concept that I wanted to teach you and show you that how it makes our code much readable and much easier to code whenever we are using the concept of inheritance. Okay, so here what I have so far is that we have got some members in our protected because I want to access them outside my main class as well for just some alteration. And after that, what I've got public functions, and in which one of them is float area, in which we will calculate the area. So the area formula for both of them is actually equals to same. Both of them have same area formula, like length multiplied by width. Okay, so we will write another keyword. Let's say we have a float area. Okay, area. Okay, but this one is area function, and area is basically equals to, it will calculate area equals to length times width. Okay, all right. And what we can do, we can say that let's say we are not going to return anything. We will just calculate the area function. And if I want to print void print area, and I will write a cout the area is equals to this, and I'll write a cout area. Okay, so I've got all of this code. Now I have two kinds of shapes. I have one rectangle and I have one square. And the common quality between them is that they both are of four sides. So I'll have the same kind of members to get values and put it in it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do in my, I will have two derived classes. One is class rectangle. Okay, and I will keep each and everything as public. Okay, and I will inherit from my quad side, and I will create a class. This is the syntax for our inheritance. So if you guys didn't learn in the previous video, you should have a look. You should take notes of it now. Now I haven't write any code in it, but still I can calculate the area of a rectangle. How? Let's do it. Now let's say I create a rectangle R1, and in R1 I'll say R1 dot get input, because first thing is to get input. After that, R1 dot calculate the area. When the area is calculated, after that I'll print R1 dot print area. I will print the area. Now let's run this code. I haven't got anything in my derived class. Okay, let's run this code. This is the quality. This is the feature of inheritance. I haven't done anything. I haven't write in. I just inherited the qualities, the attributes, the characteristics from the base class into my derived class, which was a rectangle. Now what I can do, I'll write 5, let's say write 6, and I'll say like 10, it's height, and the area is 5 times 6 is equals to 30. That's it. Just the simple code, 3 lines of code, and it is giving me the functionality of all of these lines of code. Now this is the feature, this is the quality of inheritance. Now I'll do the same for the square as well. So I'll just copy this code and I'll change the name of rectangle by square. So I'll write square. Okay, I've got the square, and now here what I'm going to do, square. Okay, and I'll write S1 and S1 dot first of all get input, and what I'm going to do, S1 dot first of all calculate the area function, and then S1 dot print area. So enter the length, it is 5, it is 6, it is 10, 30. Enter length 3, 3, 10. It is 9. Now here is the thing. Did you guys just observe that how I knew that one input is going to be rectangle and another input is going to be for square? Because I created the code, that's why I knew that first thing that I'm calling in my main function is for rectangle and another one is for the square. So that's how I knew it. But what about the situation where you don't know? What about the user? Does the user know your code, how it's been implemented? He just see the user interface and he just put the data. So if I want to make this function a bit modified, I want to customize this get area function for get input function for my shape, I can do that. I'll just write void the same function name. I'll write get input. I'll keep this one in public as well because I can access it outside the class then. Now in this get input function, this is the same function name. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to override the functionality of the previous function. What I'm going to do, I'll write some text over here. Cout enter data for rectangle and L. Now after that, what I am going to do, I'm going to write, as you guys know, the scope resolution operator, which was very useful thing. Whenever you want some access, you write the scope resolution and you can access this get input, and I'll call that get input function in here as well. Now both the get input functions are of the same name. Now, as you remember the topic that we studied in function overloading and function overriding, we said that whenever you call a function, the compiler checks the argument. For example, the number of arguments are different in two same type functions. It will call the function on the basis of your arguments passed. Now here what will compiler does, that whenever I call the get input function with the declared object as rectangle, it will call this get input function instead of calling this get input function. Okay, one thing clear. What does the first line says? It is just a simple cout statement in which I'm stating that enter data for rectangle. Now what does this line of code mean? This line of code basically means that include the functionality of this get input over here. Now it's calling, this function is calling this get input function within itself with the help of this line of code. Now let's run. Okay, we will do this same for our square as well. So copy, paste, and we will write square, and that's it. Now you will see the difference on the output screen. Now let's run our code. Okay, it's saying, oh sorry, we didn't write the public keyword. It should be in, must be in public. Now let's run out. As you guys can see, now it's saying enter the data for rectangle. So I'll write, okay, I know it's rectangle, so one side should be different from another, and like this. So it's 80. 8 times 10, it's the area is 80. Now enter data for square. Oh, good. So length is equals to 90, and width is also equals to 90, and the height is anything like 500, let's say. So it is like 8100 is its area. is its area. So this is how inheritance work. You can also inherit the functionalities, the characteristics, the attributes, each member function variables in your derived class as it is, and you can also customize it according to your needs. So I customize that thing. Now I can also customize the functionality. For example, in the case of square, what I know that I just want one side, like I just want a width of a side. So if the width is 10 centimeter, the length is going to be the 10 centimeter as well, because this is the condition for the square. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a customize function, customize get input function. I'll copy this code. For example, I copy this code, copy, I'll remove this one, paste it over here, and I'll customize it. How? I'll just take the input from user as just the length, not anything else. Okay, I'll just take the length as input, and I'll width is equals to length. Okay, now let's run our code. So enter length, I'll write 12, enter height, I'll write 30. Okay, wait a second. I'm so sorry that I accidentally customized the uh, function of, oh, sorry. We are just, it all went. And just copy this line of code, copy, and we will paste it over here. The thing that we are going to customize is the square function, not a rectangle function. Okay, so here we are going to do some customization. So the same thing, copy this code, and we will just paste it over here. Where is the square? Paste it over here, and now I want the behavior to be changed. The behavior that I want to change is that width should be equals to length. Okay, now it's done. Now let's run our code. Yep, it is running. 10 and width should be different, so 13, and height should be whatever it is, 89, let's say. So the area is 130, which is correct. Enter data for square. So if the length is 10, then the width is automatically 10. You are going to see 100 as result, and 30, let's say 30 is our height, and the area is equals to 100. So as you guys saw that I inherited the qualities from my parent class, then I had some issues. I had requirement to change according to my child class. The child class was square, and I wanted to make some changes into my derived class, and I made it. I made changes in the function that has been inherited. Now the get input name remains the same in all the classes, but whenever you call get input function with the related object, with the class object, it will be called only for that same class. Okay, not any. If you call it with s1 dot get input, it will be called for square. If you call it for r1 dot get input, it will be called for rectangle. Now one more thing is, you guys can see that this doesn't look good. This doesn't look, I want equal sign. So for example, in a situation that a person has designed a program and he wants to change something, he wants to change a little bit of thing. So this is a little bit of thing. I want to have an equal sign on my output screen. So if in a situation, if the coder, if the programmer didn't use the concept of inheritance, what he or she had to do, that they will just change the whole code, look for each class and each function. Now what I know that this functionality, this get input functionality has been inherited from this main class. So if I made some changes into my main class, it will be seen in my inherited class as well. So if I write equal sign over here, it will be seen in my inherited class as well. Okay, so it will be seen over here as well. One more thing, the functionality of my square class was changed, so that's why I have to do it a bit separately. Okay, so I did it separately. Now let's run our code. It's look much cleaner. So 10, 12, 30, and we will write enter length. Enter the length is let's say 20, height is 30, and we have got the area is 400. The code looks much cleaner now. So this was the practical example and demonstration of our inheritance concept. I hope you guys have learned, and the homework for this example is that you have to implement a volume class, as you guys have three member variables. With the multiplication of these three with each other, you will get the volume of a certain shape. Okay, so implement that and practice this inheritance concept. I'll meet you guys in the next video.